We're back now with more of our panel. Jeffrey, I want to stick on the Republican side. Donald Trump got some praise from Vladimir Putin this week, which he seemed to like.
Yes, he did. And you know, I've been thinking about this all week. I can't recall a similar experience in which the leading candidate for one of the major parties is praising and receiving praise from a former KGB. I mean, he's a former KGB official who is the despot running an adversarial country, Russia. And Trump's sanguine approach to this, or actually his pleasure at this, seems without precedent. And I thought, okay, this is the moment when the Republican base, which is pro-America and anti-Russia, might say, maybe this guy is off his rocker. I don't know, but it seems as if we're just gliding right past this crossed line. The whole point of this campaign seems to be to cross lines. And I can't remember, not since World War II have we felt so warmly about, or seen a candidate feel so warmly about a Russian leader.
Although George W. Bush did say he looked into his soul and saw that he was a good person.
Not the greatest moment. Not the greatest moment in the George W. Bush presidency.
Something his brother apparently doesn't agree with. Yeah. But no, listen, Trump. You say that you think he's crossed the line. Maybe people will say he's off his rocker. They've had ample opportunity to make this judgment along the way, and they've rejected it. He seems to be, at least with his base, impervious to that. The question is, can he grow? How much can he grow?
One thing to be bigoted against Mexicans. I mean, and it's a terrible thing, but I understand it in the politics of the immigration debate. To talk about an adversary, a foremost adversary, as someone worthy of praise and worthy of receiving praise.
He seems to enjoy flattery.
I was just going to say, there's a curious quality about him. I mean, we think of him as the insult candidate, and yet when somebody or something is nice to him, whether it's a new poll or Vladimir Putin, he embraces that, and he gives it back. And so, it's just the nature of his personality that he seeks to be liked.
Well, that seems somewhat dangerous, doesn't it?
I'm not arguing that.
Going back to our conversation about strength, and the strength above all, he said he's strong and he's a leader. Peggy, when challenged on this and told that Vladimir Putin kills journalists, he said, well, America kills people too.
Yes, that was an unusual answer.
Well,
I'm not totally sure what it meant, actually, what he was referring to. He doesn't mean America kills.
He means in wars, America kills people, and so he was drawing an equivalence there.
All right. I'm not sure what he meant, but I think part of the Putin-Trump story is that people understand that Putin loves to make mischief. He has a mischievous side. I think a number of people interpreted Putin's praise of Trump to be an implicit criticism of Obama, who he's been asked about in the past and who he's damned with faint praise. Do you know what I mean? This is showing, I don't like Obama, I like even this guy better. I think a number of people saw it a little bit like that.
David, Donald Trump is also accepting praise, and there's an affectionate and warm relationship with Ted Cruz. They're close in Iowa. What did you make? Yeah, most of the time, but in the debate in particular, they chose to be allies. What do you make of that?
I was kind of surprised by that because I thought that I think Cruz is a real threat to Trump, and you can see it in these Iowa numbers. Cruz had said some unkind things about Trump in private. He was asked about it. Trump had the opportunity to do what Rubio's trying to do and say, you know what, that's what politicians in Washington do. They say one thing in a room to their donors, and they say another thing in public. And he said, I don't play that game. I tell you what I think, and Ted, you should speak up here and say to me what you said to those donors in the room. But going to Dan's point, the truth is he's never really confrontational in that way unless someone attacks him.
Right.
And Cruz has figured that out, and Cruz is, as he said in that room, he's hugging him because he thinks if he hugs him, then Trump won't turn his guns on him.
What do you make, Dan, of Bush's decision to go after Trump? Pretty much every time he speaks now, he's got a shot at Trump. Is this going to work for him?
I don't know if it's going to work, John. I mean, he's got so many other problems, as the polling indicates, and as we've known for many months, that I don't know whether this will move him into a really competitive position. But he's clearly been liberated in some way, as he suggested to you, to really take on Trump. I mean, it's clear that he dislikes Trump. He thinks Trump is not, as he said, a serious candidate for president. It offends him. I mean, he is the son and brother of former presidents. He knows what a president ought to look like, and Trump doesn't fit that model. And so he's decided to go after him. Partly, I think, to just kind of get it off his chest, and then they'll see where they go.
Also, freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you know, it's liberating to be so down low in the polls.
He needed a foil. He needed something to define his candidacy, and he's found it in Trump. The question is whether there's time and whether ultimately he's the right guy for these times.
Peggy, is he standing up for something larger, though? He seems to claim that he is. In other words, somebody's got to stand up for sort of a sense of principles and rules, and this is what the Republican Party is about, not just from losing to Donald Trump.
And Bush has an opening here. You can be liberated by losing. Do you know what I mean? All of a sudden, you're not fighting to hold on to number one or number two. You're way back in the pack. It's not working. Then have a good time and get serious. Bush's opportunity here is not to go and say, Trump's a jerk. Do you know what I mean? It's to do a serious speech and serious statements about what's wrong with Trumpism and Trump. Be serious and thoughtful about it.
But people have tried that with little success. I mean, beginning with Rick Perry, who gave a very strong speech last July, and
that's
we
true.
haven't mentioned
But
Rick
timing
Perry.
is everything. Timing's everything.
The broader public service here is for Bush to say, you know what, if you don't know what the nuclear triad is, you shouldn't be president, and you shouldn't be running for president.
That's the last word, Jeffrey. Thanks, all of you.